Hey everyone, Rob from Southgate Media Group here. Before we get started with this podcast, we have a quick message. If this is your first time checking out the show, we love that you found us and we really hope you enjoy it. What we have to say is for the subscribers. If you enjoy our shows, would you please donate to help keep these going? We don't want to have to put traditional ads on these shows, but this does cost money. So we really do rely heavily on donations. To make a donation to the show, please go to our website, www.southgatemediagroup.com. Go to the page for the show, and in the upper right-hand corner is a donate button. It takes you right to PayPal, and you can donate whatever amount you want. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. And now, on with the show.
Hello and welcome to the ShowRatings.tv Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. I'm Kyle Tremblay, the editor-in-chief of ShowRatings.tv, and I am joined, as always, by a ShowRatings.tv staff writer and member of the social media team, Olivia Richards. Olivia, hello.
Hey.
So, we've only got one pilot to discuss this week, but oh boy, what a pilot it was!
I think one is enough.
One is enough. For maybe the whole month, honestly. I feel like TV should go into a moratorium after what we just watched, and just take a, you know what, TV? Take a breather. Because we are here to talk about The Slap. Just saying the name makes me feel weird.
So laughing.
First question. Can you believe that there's a television show called The Slap?
Like the name itself, normally we start laughing at pilots when we actually get to the content.
Yes.
But this is one of the shows where like immediately you just see the name and you're like, no good can come from it.
The Slap. I was trying to start a hashtag movement on Twitter where we would just start tweeting like hashtag slap in all caps and like hashtag slap, hashtag slap, hashtag slap as a way to try to encourage the characters to slap each other. I thought that's how the show worked. Apparently not. But
That's what I would expect.
Yeah, right? I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it when I heard the name some weeks ago, and now having watched the pilot, I really can't believe it. I can't believe this is happening. Just broad strokes, Olivia, what happened here? Like what? I don't even want to go.
Apparently a slap happened from what I saw.
Hashtag slap. Yeah. It did happen. It certainly happened in about minute 50 of this pilot. The actual slap happened, but the show The Slap really happened. I guess I should get us on track in some way. I am perplexed by this whole thing. So The Slap is an NBC quote-unquote event series, a drama about some, like, the most yuppiest of yuppies you've ever yuppied. One percenters all the way, which is specifically laid out in the dialogue of this episode. No, nothing about this episode is not specifically laid out in the dialogue of this episode, I should say that. But, so some just rich people, who are in, a rich part of New York, I don't know, and, they get together for a party, and one of the men, Zachary Quinto, slaps the son of another man and woman, and it all goes from there. So I guess, okay, what did you think of this show?
Besides, like, literally not being able to contain my laughter, I think I haven't laughed this hard at a show, and a lot of the shows we've been, like, reviewing have been actual sitcoms.
Yes.
And both of those, I was pretty stone-faced, but this was the one that was supposed to be, like, this, like, like, this kind of, noir atmosphere.
Yes.
And I was sitting there, like, what is happening right now? Like, I don't, like, all I could think is, like, it's basically, like, this group of the most pretentious people that you will ever come across, just ever, like, on your time on Earth, all gathered in one room, talking about nothing, listening to jazz, and then Zachary Quinto hits someone. And that's what happens. Like, that was the entire show.
First of all, I want to transcribe what you just said and submit it to TV Guide as the summary of the show, because that feels like, I think you captured it.
Set the
Talking
scene.
talking about nothing, listening to jazz. The Slap on NBC.
Nothing happened. Like literally nothing. Like there was absolutely like nothing that led up, and then Zachary Quinto just comes in and starts insulting people's artwork and then
Yeah.
hits a kid, and then they all got really angry, and like that was it, and this is a
Yeah.
series.
Yes, you're exactly right. I don't take issue with any part of that summary. that, that I this show, I just thought, why? Like, why did anyone okay this? Why does this exist? Why is Peter Sarsgaard and Zachary Quinto and
Uma
Uma
Thurman?
Thurman? Why are they in this show? What? Who watched this and was like, yeah, this is a good idea. Like, yeah, this is,
Yes.
because this show, such as it is, it's not even really a television show. It feels to me like one of those Oscar bait movies, like where like August Osage County or something, where the
Yeah.
movie exists so that actors can act with a capital A, and so that it can get into some really like deep issues, capital letters, and basically win awards. But it's like when one really goes wrong. like this to me was so close to being a comedy, and yet completely unaware of how close it was to being a comedy. Like, I feel like if you asked anyone involved with the Slap, except maybe Zachary Quinto, who was sort of hamming it up a little, but anyone else, like any actor, any person behind the scenes, they would say that this is the most serious show ever created. Like,
Right.
right? Like this was produced with the like the glee and the the joie de vivre of a funeral. Like this show is so effing serious, and yet it is ridiculous.
I actually have a theory.
Oh, good. Oh, yeah, theory, please lay it on.
I have a theory that secretly this is Tommy Wiseau's secret bake
Oh.
room. And he had full production, but he didn't actually want to go in the credits because he had a plan that we'll never know about and probably don't want to. But I secretly think this was a big, like,
Yeah.
The Room update project.
No, you're right, because it is in the vein of The Room, not in the sense that, like, the production values here are obviously top class, which is different than The Room. Like, you know, The Room looked like garbage.
Oh my god.
This show looks like Mad Men. Or at least it looks like Mad Men light. Like the 0-calorie Mad Men, but it's really trying. Like, you can tell what it's trying to be from a visual perspective. But you're absolutely right that there is a level of the disconnect between the show that these people think they're making and the show that they actually made and that we watched last night is catastrophically huge. Like, it is among the biggest disconnects that I have ever witnessed on television. Like, this show could have so much easier made itself into a comedy than made itself into a serious drama. Like, it is so far closer to comedy, like black comedy. The way like season 1 of Breaking Bad kind of comedy, where like it's so much closer to that without being even 1% aware of how close it is,
Right.
which is really special. What a moment for this kind of unawareness to actually make it on air.
I knew 2015 was going to be a great year.
Yeah,
I was not wrong.
It was really something too, because it basically broke Twitter last night. Like, this show was watched by nobody. It did a 1.1 rating, which is like not terrible, but it's pretty bad, especially considering the stars involved in this and how much NBC promoted it. But Twitter was all over this. Like, this is,
God bless Twitter.
yeah, this was really this was something. It's amazing to me. Like, I just want to stand in awe of this, that this somehow is on television. It's like a monument to not having any command at all over television content. Like, it's really something. I'm dumbfounded.
It's, oh my god. And just, first of all, everyone's okay. By the time the slap actually
Yes.
happened, like when that like glorious magical moment came, I almost had to like be on the floor because I was laughing so hard by that point. Like everyone's reactions to it. Like I know like obviously hitting kids is not good. Like I to the audience or whoever's listening, obviously don't hit children. But just everyone's reaction to like what had happened, I was like just how dramatic it was. I was like, okay, I'm not, recommending that you like invite Zachary Quinto back to any of your like house parties, but like I just the entire thing, like after that point, I'm just like cracking up.
The moment of the slap, and again, this is a show called The Slap, in which all the promos laid out the premise. Like, no one was confused as to what would happen, and yet the slap itself happens in minute 50, and is treated with the build-up, and then afterwards reacted to with the gravity of, I would say, the White House being blown up at Independence Day. Like, that's the level that the slap occurs on in terms of like the music swells and they start doing weird cuts with the like it honestly is like when the White House exploded at Independence Day. Like this is ludicrous. And can we just talk about how every character is the most loathsome person ever on television? Like, this is the I could, if you gave me a year to write 10 characters who I hated more than these characters, I would just kill myself because I could not do it. Like, it's amazing how much I hated every single person in this pilot.
It was, I mean, I think you knew from the moment that like Uma Thurman's character walks in wearing a beret.
Oh.
This was going to be a special viewing experience.
Or Zachary Quinto and the hippie guy Gary the hippie arguing about art. And I forget the quote. At one point the hippie guy says like economic aesthetics or something, and I was just like, oh, hang me from the rafters. Like, what are we talking
Hurts.
about? Oh.
Or the fact that like Uma Thurman's characters and Peter Sarsgaard characters are both trying to get with people who are like, first of all, minors or at least considerably younger than they are, because they're in failing marriages or like recently divorced or what have you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's also a lot of accent work going on in this pilot. Tandy Newton is English. We had both the inexplicable English character and the inexplicable Greek character, which was fun. And then we had we can't talk about the show without talking about the narration.
Oh my God. That killed me. I was like, why is this here?
Wow. I mean, honestly, like being as serious as I can about this, was the decision to have this series narrated the worst decision in television history? That's where I'm setting the bar. Answer.
It could be. I feel like this narration was sort of like that drunk guy who walks into the room and you're kind of like, everyone just kind of stares and doesn't know what to say.
Yeah.
Like that's, oh my God.
But it's done. It's almost done like in the, it's like someone just swilling wine and relaxing in a robe, telling you a bedtime story. Like, that's the tone of their narration, and he is saying the most like ludicrous plot specific details. Like, it's so dumb. So the last bit of narration, which I commemorated on Twitter, a line I transcribed this. So this is what the narrator actually said to end the episode. Hector was an atheist, but he thanked God for all that happened to him that afternoon. And I mean, he said that. That's some like middle school shit. Like that's like what I was writing in like 8th grade English class. I mean, the writing is next level bonkers. Like this is ridiculous.
Oh my God. This almost goes down as either my favorite pilot because it's so awful, or obviously, like, if we're going to look at this from, like, objectively good television, then this is definitely, like, the worst thing that has ever happened to network television.
Yeah. The AV Club, by the way, gave this pilot a B+, even though everyone else hated it. And I am, like, are they on acid? Like, what happened? But everyone else hated it, and I hated it certainly. But I also like. Here's what I want to get into, because you're right. Like, you can judge this based on like how like objectively awful everything that happened was, and how the writing is among the worst I've ever seen on television, and yada yada yada. But also, there's like, it's almost so bad that it's noble. Like it's a noble failure almost. In the way that like Allegiance wasn't. You know, last week we talked about Allegiance, and it's such, that show is like, it's so half baked and so just like uncommitted, and like, oh, I guess we got to do this show now. Maybe it'll work. This show is the slap is so committed, and it's just like polar opposite wrong in its commitment, but it's also really committed. And I mean, does it deserve credit for that?
There's almost no words, but I'm like, that's the thing about it. It's like, I think that was its saving grace, is that it took this incredibly innocuous event that occurred at a party because, you know, a guy probably who shouldn't have been there got really mad and hit a child.
Yeah.
And the show ran with that. And then it was like a lot of nothing happened in between the slap and everything else that happened for 43 minutes or so.
Right. That was the real, like, just kick in the stomach, is the fact that the slap happened so late in the episode, and that I mean, you're right, literally nothing happened. Like, it was a party with the worst people on earth listening to jazz music. And at one point, Zachary Quinto says, "Turn down the jazz, please." So he can give just a loathsome speech, like a toast, that just, dripping with 1% yuppiness. And oh my gosh, I can't even, I still can't believe this happened. Like, wow. Just wow.
Oh, God, and everything that went between, because I know like they even separated it into like, this was supposed to be like Hector's story, so I don't know if like this is going to be like a new character each week, and they're gonna like, not like that would matter.
Yeah.
But, like, just the entire dynamic between like his wife and his kids, and it's clear that it's like that, this idea of like the whole noir thing where he's like, he's in government and like he doesn't like his wife, and his kids kind of annoy him, and now there's a house party, and like, God, I don't even know.
I mean, you couldn't design a more hateable cast of characters. Like, really, like, the show goes so far out of its way to make every single person on screen unredeemable. And that's why this is so close to being like a black comedy. Like, what if this show pulled back one step and said, instead of making the show about the slap, the show uses the slap as a way to illuminate how awful all these people are and make fun of them. Like what if the show was making fun of all of its characters, and all the characters were the same, and all the plot points were the same, but the tone of the show was, we're making fun of these people. Like, wouldn't that be a fun show? Like, wouldn't that be
I would watch that.
Yeah.
Definitely. I would like tune into that on a weekly basis and follow it like religiously. That sounds amazing.
Yeah. That's like a potentially like smart, socially conscious show. Whereas this, it's almost celebrating these people in their like 1%ness. Like there's not even a trace of satire here, which is, it's almost impossible to imagine that no one at any point in production was like, hey, do we want to like add a joke? Like, do we want to make this funny in any way? And everyone was like, no, this has to be direly serious.
And then that was the joke.
And that should be the joke, but no one ever like went. But obviously to us, we laugh at it. But everyone, it's so, I just can't believe it happened.
Yep.
I really can't. All right, I guess we've talked enough about it. I feel like this is one. I mean, at least we're going to be talking about this for years to come. As a, I mean, just as an example, like the way that you and I bring up like mixology fairly often. It's like, if you are bad in this memorable a way, then in a weird way you're immortalized. So congratulations, The Slap.
They could do like a spin-off that's like literally just called The Slap, and then like parentheses to the face, and then just market that to be perfect.
My idea was to rename the show The Meteor, and in episode 2, a meteor hits the house and the show ends.
I would watch that.
Me too. All right, Olivia. When it comes to the slap, thumbs up or thumbs down?
I am putting my thumbs down, and I will slap anyone else's thumbs down too.
Yes. Agreed. I guess my thumbs are. It's hard to position your thumbs down if you're going to slap someone, but I'm going to work on that. So I'm going to give it a thumbs down for now.
Make it work.
All right. So that wraps up this very fun edition of the Pilot Roundtable, a Southgate Media Group podcast. We invite you to read all of our stuff at showratings.tv and to listen to other TV podcasts at southgatemediagroup.com. You can follow Olivia on Twitter at RichardsOlivia and me on Twitter at KyleLovesTV. Until next week.